Do it, and the puck comes out the center. Now Jaques trying to work it away from Atcheynum. They're in a battle on the far boards. They're tied up along the far wall, and now it is Tippett. He's kind of lodged in his breathers, but the Moose come away 3-on-1, but they're offside. Now we've got a fight between Jaques and Atcheynum. They've dropped the gloves, and this gets the crowd going. Maybe this is what it's going to take. Jaques has the right free, trying to pound to the side of the head of Atcheynum. Now working on the lid. He's got it off. Atcheynum strikes back with a solid left hand. Jaques trying to fire back. They're all going at it now as they're just jostling at center ice. And finally the linesmen get in there, but I'll tell you, I've seen it many times. A good bout like this gets the crowd going, gets the team going, and maybe this is the shot in the arm the Arrows need. We'll sort it out when we return. 2.5 played in the second. 3-0 Moose back after this.
And I think you're right when you talk about the crowd finally being into something here. Good little battle at center ice, and Jaques, I think, got the best of Atcheynum. Atcheynum got a good shot or two in under his eye from Steve Jaques. I think he's going to have a little shiner there before the game is through.
Pass now picked up by Townsend, and that's going to be blown dead on the offsides. And let's take a timeout. Well, hold on, we're not going anywhere. We've got Hicks and Jaques. They're locked up at center circle. And all we need here in Las Vegas is Michael Buffer, the ring announcer. They're all locked up, and Jaques trying to get a right free. Hicks has him tied up, and they circle around a little bit, wrestling back and forth. Jaques trying to get a right free, but Hicks has him all locked up. Now Jaques got a left-hand free, and he's trying to wail away at Hicks. And the linesmen get in there, and they will break that up, and we will take time out. 18:40 to play here in the second period. 4-0 Houston. We'll have more from the Thomas & Mack Center right after this. Big drive by Snell off the face-off, and Gamble got a piece of it. It looked like it was Shargorodsky that got a skate on it. Now we've got Jaques. He's going to drop the mitts and run with Barry Potomoski right now. Yes, now Potomoski trying to get a right hand free, and he scrapes the head of Jaques. Jaques trying to fire back, but takes a big uppercut. Jars the head back. Right now Potomoski beating Jaques all he can handle right now. Jaques trying to hang in there as they're all locked up in the near corner, and a big right hand again off the head of Jaques. And right now Jaques just trying to fire back, and a pretty good bout right now, but it's been mostly Barry Potomoski and his big right hands. There's a left by Jaques as he tries to fire back, and the linesman in there to separate him.
Next week, the boxing pride of Houston, George Foreman, will fight for a couple of heavyweight titles against Michael Moore. Maybe if we can get George to come on over here tonight, I think Steve Jaques could use a lesson.
I don't have enough burgers, though, to cover that.
That's right.
Well, 5 minutes each for fighting. Barry Potomoski and Steve Jaques.
Years ago, guys who were big and tough guys and were willing to go at it with anybody, but not very good at it, used to take boxing lessons and learn how to handle themselves on the ice, if it ever came up, because they were willing to go. They were happy to be tough guys, and they were tough guys, but they just couldn't handle themselves in the proper manner. And remember, several guys used to take boxing lessons to learn how to do it better.
We had a guy in Tacoma 2 years ago when I was there. His name was Alexander Alexiev. This is a guy who came over from Russia, never played in North American hockey, and he got challenged by one of the Seattle Thunderbird players. Well, the Seattle Thunderbird player didn't realize that he was a 13-year boxer from Russia. But the funny thing was the stance that Alexiev used. He never tried to grab him. He tried to bob and weave.
Yeah.
And it was the funniest thing I ever saw. And after the game, I asked Alex, he says, I thought that's what I was supposed to do.
center ice, and Townsend drilled by Lavigne. And right now, the Roadrunners going right back to the hitting game. They have not let up. Now we've got Lavigne and Jaques again, and play still going on. Now we're going to get a whistle, and they're going to drop the mitts once again. Jaques in his second bout of the night. We'll see how he fares this time against Lavigne. He had a rough time with Barry Potomoski, but now he's got Lavigne all locked up, and an uppercut by Jaques may have connected, but Lavigne wrestles him down to the pond, and the linesman trying to work them free, and finally the linesmen get in there, and we'll take a timeout. 17:35 to play in the third. 2-1 in favor of Phoenix, and we'll be right back.
Running it in. Puck along right wing corner. And Steve Jaques is back for the Arrows. He falls. Knights try to keep it in. 1-0 Arrows lead. Big hit on the boards by Jason Ruff. And now Jaques and Julian. Now Ruff and Jaques. Here we go. It takes the veteran Ruff, sore back and all, to try to get these Knights awakened here.
After that hit by Ruff, Jaques wanted a piece of him, started talking to him, and he knew it was just going to be a matter of time before they dropped the gloves.
The penalties will come at 8:12. The Knights trail 1-0, and let's see if this will serve as a catalyst to get the slumbering Atlanta Knights back into this thing. We'll be right back. It's 1-0 Houston on Heineken Hockey Night in Atlanta. We have the extra 2 called here as we take another look. There's the hit by Ruff.
Yeah, good job by Ruff and Julia both with the hit. And at this point, Jaques, I think he wants to get into it at this point. He wants to get a little retaliation here. And Ruff, you kind of see, wants to not get into it because he's protecting his back. And that's when Julia comes in to protect his teammate, knowing Ruff is trying to protect his back. And Julia, he came awfully close to getting a third man in there as well.
You know, it was more the hit by Julia. It was a nudge from behind by Ruff, but the lateral shoulder-to-shoulder hit by Droya that jammed Jaques into the boards.
Kind of all locked up there, and Jaques and Sharples. Now we've got 59.1 seconds left. Now St. Cyr and Rogers starting to joust a little bit here, and St. Cyr had his sweater pulled over, trying to regain his composure here. Hicks and Yo kind of dancing and
Steady man. Good years in Vancouver. Shot. Power play. Jaques. Who is that he's going?
And Gavey wants to give him a little slash or a hit, and Jaques wanted a piece of him.
Nice power play just begun. They're fifth of the game. Jaques still trying to get a shot in there on the shoulder. And Marcadori got that players trying to separate him. Get a close look at the intensity. And we'll be right back. Jaques and Gavey are going at 15:32, and so are we. Back in a minute. 4-0 Houston on Atlanta Knights Hockey. Something about it, says Darren Gavey. Here's the left hand. Watch this.
Yeah, Jaques was leaving. Gavey said, here, take that. I've had a long night. Jaques said, that's it. I'm going to get you back for that one, Mr. Gavey.
And it's
Jaques saying, come on, throw those gloves down. Aaron's like, I'm not a fighter, come on. He's just going to try to clutch and grab and hold on.
Fred and Ginger once said, and then the dance began. Pretty much a shoulder tug at that point.
I've never seen so many near fights, what you will. I mean, there's been no real fights tonight. I mean, Myhres has been wanting to fight anybody, but nobody wanted to fight him. I mean, just a lot of clutching and grabbing, and guys like Julia involved. Even the fights.
What's Jaques doing going after Gavey? Although Gavey did give him a shot, but Jaques was raking his face there. And they're having trouble figuring it out. I'm having trouble figuring this whole hockey game out. So
That's on a moment ago. Freer takes a hit from the Puma. And out comes Bannister. Right wing pass, Ruff. Now Myhres is going to go. Steve Jaques was tackled down by the linesman.
This is going to get ugly because everybody's involved now. LaPuma wants a piece of somebody. He's going after O'Brien. The hitting is picking up. Myhres has been out there. Every time he's been out there, there's been some fireworks. He wanted to go with Pellerin last time. He wanted to go with Jaques this time. The line's been able to step in before anything really developed, though.
Mike Gallotti escorting Steve Jaques to the penalty box. O'Brien and LaPuma are still tangled up.
Well, if anything, this crowd is fired up now, and the Knights might be able to use that to their advantage.
Look at the intensity on Terry Ruskowski's face. There's a look at the crowd. It's a big, big crowd here at the Omni tonight.
You know, the head coach is intense when he's holding a hockey stick himself. He was banging it on the dashboards a minute ago.
There's the wild thing. Look at this. Watch this hit, Mike. This is LaPuma on Freer.
Yeah, he has him in his sights, and I'm surprised Freer even got up. Look at that. From the blue line on, LaPuma had it in his mind to take Freer into the boards. And I did not think Freer was going to get up at all. He did. He skated towards the bench. And then the whistle blew when Myhres got into it with Jaques.
No, LaPuma lined him up. He kept his feet on the ice. No charge. And Freer up slowly. And then Jaques wanted a piece of Myhres. And it all started to hang out.
There in the background, there you see LaPuma and O'Brien. He went after O'Brien, and that's when Ruskowski got a little upset and say, hey, LaPuma, he needs not only to get some kind of a penalty, but maybe more than just a 2-minute call or a 5-minute call, because he went after O'Brien there. Right now, Myhres is in the box. I'm sure I would think we'd see LaPuma in there as well. But let's say what they call.
Graham Townsend chatting with somebody. Appeared to be saying, why? Why? Graham Townsend's a very tough customer. There he is again. Hey, look, why? What's going on? What's the need?
And Jason Ruff, a few words for Townsend. Ruff doesn't need to be in that area. He is not a captain or an alternate, so he doesn't need to be over in that area. So Townsend and Ruff had a few words, and Ruff is escorted back to the Knights team bench.
Reese's stuff shot. Oh, and it was just closed down by Ascenta. Now Jaques and Gillingham getting in there again, and Jaques is just about at it. Now he's going to try Dreger on per side. Dreger firing with some rights. Jaques a right hand that may have clipped Dreger. Now an uppercut that grazed him. Well, Steve Jaques is going to get another 5 here, and he can't fight again or he's gone. Jaques wailing away on some rights, and then Dreger just hauls him down. What a tilt there. 3 fights and you're out, and Jaques has 2 in the first period.
Well, yeah, but at least he won them both. You know, it could be worse. They don't make differentiation of winning or losing. 3 fights and you're out. And if you lose 3 fights and you're out, that's a lousy night. If you win 3 fights or even 2 out of 3, then that's not such a lousy night. But he's going to have to be careful here. If they want to take him out, they're 2/3 of the way towards doing it.
Now the question is, you know, we talked about actually the Terry Ruskowski story of how when he was going with Gallant, one of the times he couldn't fight him because he already had 2.
Right.
What does Steve Jaques do now? I mean, San Diego knows he's fought twice. Do they go after him?
Well, it depends on how badly they want him out of the game. There's the push from behind by Gillingham. They had fought earlier.
Accepted by Dreger, turned up for Gillingham. He's pounded on the boards by Steve Jaques. Good physical play here in the early going. We talked about Terry Ruskowski saying, I want to see my guys hit. Well, he's at least getting that here. Now we've got Todd Gillingham and Steve Jaques going at it. Gillingham took exception to Steve Jaques pounding him, and then Jaques comes in after him. Gillingham kind of went after Jaques, then when Jaques said, okay, you want to go, let's go, and Gillingham kind of backed off a little bit.
it was over when Jaques thought it was just starting, and he caught him with a right and now a left, and Gillingham is pretty soon going to be imploring the linesman to step in and get me out of this mess.
6'2", 202 is Gillingham, but I think Jaques just chopped him down to 2'6".
Yeah, he certainly did.
He took exception to what I thought was a clean hit by Steve Jaques.
Well, and it was an odd little skirmish as Gillingham threw a couple of shots and looked like Jaques was just going to let him go by himself. And then finally, Jaques said, all right, if you want me, you got me. Hey, Gillingham is still trying to get him. Jaques hasn't even dropped the stick or dropped the gloves. Gillingham still wants to go. Finally, he drops it, gets him with a quick right that Gillingham never saw coming. There's another uppercut and an overcut and a side cut. And Darren loves it. Hey, does he love that, huh? He was one of the toughest of the tough when he played here and helped lead the Arrows to the AFCO trophy back in '75. And he was a tough middleweight in the National Hockey League, and he loves to see his little guys play tough.
Tell you a funny story about Terry Ruskowski last night. We were playing, of course, in Atlanta, and they've got Gerard Gallant. Well, this is a guy that fought Terry Ruskowski twice. And Terry says to me, he says, Adam, this is a guy that really gave me all I could handle twice, because once I was late in a shift and the other iron's out. He'll flip it to the line, not out. Jaques held it in, pounds it along the boards. It'll come to the near side, and here is Gary Evans for Kansas City. Evans right side. Now we're going to get Jaques and Evans. Are they going to go? They had a good bout last night, and they are going to go. I've been waiting for this all night. Jaques overhand right. Jaques overhand right. Another right by Evans, though. Now right to the back of the head from Jaques. These two had the most incredible bout last night. This one off to a pretty good start as well. Jaques, another right. Another right. How about this? Is this being redundant? This is from the Department of Redundancy Department. They're just going at it. Wow, good punches thrown there, and finally the linesman will get in there. Well, the linesman doing some sorting out. We'll do the same. 3-1, Houston. It is 3-1 in favor of the Houston Arrows. Adam Gordon along with Russ Small. And I'll tell you what, you look at the Oshman's game plan, Russ, and things going exactly to game plan.
Well, here's what we said they had to do. They had to play physically, and my, oh my, have they right from the beginning. They have really been throwing their weight around. Like this? Ooh, yeah, that's a physical game. Mike Myhres throwing a check. They have played physical, and you can't get much more physical than this. Jaques and Evans, right from the beginning. These two have been talking about it, and as you said, they did more than just talk about it last night too. I think that very early in this game, wasn't it, when Cherbayev got called for a high sticking on Jaques, and it was Evans who stepped in and wanted to just to get his 2 cents worth in there, and got called at that time. No, it was for misconduct. Right, it was Evans who got called for the misconduct after Cherbayev was called for the high sticking on Jaques.
Jaques with ice on his hand. No, that's not for a post-game cocktail. He's trying to get the ice, the swelling down from his knuckles, introducing to the face of Kevin Evans. Look at that. And you know what's funny? I'm going to tell you, as much as I watch Steve Jaques, it's a regularity having ice on his hand. And right now, Kevin Evans is being moved out of this hockey game. I think he's getting a gross misconduct.
Right, and he wants a piece of Mike Hassenfratz, the